Okay, so for the longest time, I've always wanted to become a digital nomad. I'd see these people have these Instagram posts of them being in Bali and they're working from their laptop. And I would think to myself, at that time I was working in an office and everything. I would think to myself, man, this is the dream. I don't want to be in a corporate office and these like cubicle. Like, this is like soul suckingly draining, right? Then eventually the pandemic hit and everything. I ended up having to become a full-time freelancer, and I was working pretty much all remotely, just managing my clients. And then one day I thought to myself, I was like, yo, since you're working remotely right now, and you're managing clients, you don't have to be location dependent. Want to try out becoming a digital nomad? And so I was like, yes, oh my God, I have some family in Florida. I can stay there for a couple of weeks. My friend is going to LA, so I can stay there for a couple of weeks and then work for like this laptop lifestyle, digital nomad, out there adventuring in the world while building a business. Like, this is it. I have done it, right? And so I booked a ticket and I ended up going to like Miami. I ended up going to the Florida Keys. I ended up going to LA and renting a cool blue car, driving all around LA. I went to the beaches in the morning. I would post on my Instagram like, yo, I've become a digital nomad. Look at me. And I'm posting all these adventures. I remember going on LinkedIn and I was like, guys, I'm so excited. I'm going to become a digital nomad. This is amazing, right? So I was like really into it. Like, I'm just like, yes, laptop lifestyle. I have my clients and I'm just gonna work there in the mornings. I'm gonna wake up and go to the beach because here in Canada it's cold and there's nothing here and I'm bored, right? And fast forward, when the trip ended up coming to an end, I was weirdly happy because for some reason throughout that experience of digital nomading, I started realizing like, yo, I don't know if I'm fulfilled. And I started questioning the idea of digital nomading. Because, yeah, I did some cool things and I rode this cool car and then woke up in the morning, went to a beach and it was beautiful and everything. But for some reason, I just felt like there was a hole missing inside of me. I couldn't even explain it. And after a lot of thought, I realized, so this was the missing key. See, the reason I realized I wanted to become a digital nomad is because I was bored of my present state. And what I mean by this is, I was working all the time and my business was at like a blah mode and I was feeling monotonous and, Canada weather, there's nothing exciting here. And I was just bored. Like my state was just blah. So when I thought about digital nomading, it was like a complete no-brainer. Like, oh my God, it's exciting. I'm gonna do all these cool things, right? So in a sense, I was just doing it to chase a high, like a thrill, some sort of stimulation to my day-to-day mundane things, right? So when I was going on the trip and I was doing all these cool things, I was chasing highs, essentially. I would wake up in the morning and go to the beach for a run, and it was like so exhilarating because it was a new environment, and I was so stimulated. And then I would go to watch a movie, and then go out for the night with some friends. And then I'm wearing shorts instead of being in this Canadian cold. Like, I realized I wasn't growing. I was just thrill seeking, if that makes sense. And this is real deep, okay? So yesterday, I read a quote. I heard about this quote from a podcast, and the podcast was like, this guy got asked, are you happy? And he's like, I don't know what happiness is, because to me that's just a bland term. I think what people really mean by happiness is one of three things: fulfillment, joy, and peace. Fulfillment is when you do hard shit like going to the gym and then you feel good afterwards, right? Joy is when you're out on a trip to Bali and then you're excited because you're stimulated, right? That tingly feeling, that's joy. And then peace is, when you wake up, it's calm and you're walking by like a forest and you feel it's just nice and neutral and peaceful, right? These are the three whatever you want to call it, of happiness. And I realized during this digital nomading trip, I was chasing joy, but I wasn't getting fulfillment. And that's essentially what I was chasing: joy, this constant stimulation of high. Now here's the thing. I realize I get the most sense of fulfillment when I build and grow things. In this case, the business, my personal brand, the content stuff, right? I get the most like the deep feeling fulfillment when I grow and build things. But during this time, when I was digital nomading, I ran into a few problems. First, getting adjusted to a new environment, packing the clothes and making sure everything's arranged properly, having a dedicated spot to work in, it took time to just adjust to things. And my mind was still in like excitement, go to the beach type of mode. And it was hard task switching from, oh, I went to the beach in Miami and hung out with these people. Now I gotta work on this copywriting thing for a client. Oh my gosh. And switching between the two was hard. On top of that, I didn't have a dedicated desk, so I was working off like weird like cafe tables and everything. And I'd work at a cafe, but then I need to pee, and so I had to pack everything, go to the washroom, come back, and it was just so much movingness, right? That I never really got to sit down and do some deep work. And because I was constantly distracted, whether it's my friends reaching out to me, yo, come through to this party. My aunt would be like, yeah, we're going here. You coming for a visit? Let me like entertain you, right? I'm getting pulled in so many ways to the point where literally in those few weeks, I didn't get much client work done. And I started feeling very, very guilty because, like the whole point of digital nomading, the thing that supports it is the business, the work, the deep work, right? But I wasn't focusing enough on that. I was just so excited chasing highs and highs and highs and posting it on social media and having people watch it. And then they're like thriving off any envy that I might get, right? I was just thrill seeking. I wasn't really deep down building, growing, and fulfilling myself. Now, here's the thing. You might think like digital nomading doesn't work now because of what I'm saying. But digital nomading can work. But here's what I learned. Don't stay for a place for 2 weeks, then move to another place for 2 weeks, and go to another place for 2 weeks, right? Because your body, or just generally, at least I found for my mind, I need a couple of months to just get used to one location, right? When you move into a new place, it takes about a week to really adjust, right? Time zones, Wi-Fi, having a dedicated workspace, all that stuff. And if you're just staying for a week, your first 3 days is getting used to it, and then the next 3 days is literally getting packed, and maybe you have 1 day for deep work, right? It's too much moving, especially if you have like a packed agenda and you want to do all these things in a day, and then come home at like 7 and then deep work, but then you're too tired, right? It's way too much moving around. And I think I realized this. Digital nomading works if you plan to stay for a place for at least a month and a half, like at least like a month and a half where you got time to adjust to things, right? And it'll work if you are very strict with your focus and calendar, right? So instead of being distracted and pulled all the ways and being half in your work and half into excitement, you want to schedule time out in your calendar, like 9 to 5. I will treat myself like an employee, and after work, that's when I actually go outside and experience things, right? But I didn't know this when I was doing things. So my idea was I'll do anything in whatever gap I have in my calendar, I'll work on things. So like fast forward to now, like I'm glad I did this whole digital nomad thing. Like I can't lie, I'm now I've got it in my system. I kind of feel for it, right? Now, if someone were to give me an opportunity to become a digital nomad, I would think like, yeah, it's cool, but the pull wouldn't be as much, right? I realized for me at least, this is how my brain works, right? This might be different for you. I realize if I'm gonna go on a trip, right, I'll be 100% in the trip, and then if I'm gonna work, I want to be 100% in the work. So if my friends are going out to a place for a big trip, right? I'd rather take a week off as like a mini vacation and just go and be fully present there. And then when I'm done from the vacation, I'll come back and work on things, right? I like this segmented like lifestyle. Like play is play, work is work. And for me, it doesn't work well if I'm playing and working at the same time. So instead of thinking myself as like, moving forward, if an opportunity for digital nomad comes, I'm actually like, okay if I don't take it. Because again, the deep fulfillment comes when I'm deep down in my work and I'm building and growing things. And I'm down for a trip, but I'm going to treat it more as like a vacation, right? Like an actual like a all-in vacation instead of half-assing it as like a digital nomad trip. Anyways, those are my thoughts about digital nomading. Again, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. There's just my experience personally, and I guess really for you, you want to decide like what kind of lifestyle do you want to live? Like, do you want to be head down and just grow and build things, or do you just want to kind of work here, work a little less, and just go out more and just explore, adventure with things, right? You want to figure out for you what it is that you want, and then from there create a lifestyle around that instead of being sold this dream of what looks like this crazy exciting life that you think you're going to find so much deep fulfillment in, only to experience it and realize this is actually not what I want, right? Anyways, those are my takeaways when it comes to digital nomading. If you enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn, and of course, subscribe to my newsletter. And I will see you, my friend, in the next video. Peace, 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 peace.